아이들은 자기주도 학습을 통해 스스로 꿈을 설계하는 힘을 키우고 있습니다. 점수를 올리는 기술이 아니라 내 삶을 스스로 꾸려가며 성장하는 아이들. 정해진 답을 외우는 대신 스스로 묻고 스스로 찾아가는 배움으로 아이들은 세계를 넓혀갑니다.
Our children are learning to build their own dreams. Education that is not about getting the highest score, but learning how to build your own life. Asking why rather than jumping to an answer. Learning through asking and searching. Broadening the children's world.
학교와 함께 자기주도 학습의 기반을 다져나가고 성장 눈높이에 맞춰 아이들이 스스로 공부해 나갈 수 있는 힘을 키웁니다.
Schools and children building the foundation of self-directed learning together. Strengthening self-directed learning capabilities through education support for each growth stage.
이 캠페인은 아이들의 꿈을 밝히는 신뢰도 높은 공교육, 부산광역시 교육청이 함께합니다.
지역 경제가 힘차게 출발합니다. 기업들이 고객을 향해 더 빨리 가려면 방송 광고라는 엑셀을 밟으세요. 경제도 기업도 더 힘차게 달려가니까요. 방송 광고의 작은 힘, 경제의 큰 힘입니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
The year 2025 can be summed up in many ways, but one of the most definitive key terms this year was personal data breach, unfortunately. As a fallout over the multiple stories of data breach unfolded this year, the biggest and latest case of Coupang has drawn the ire of consumers to no end. As Coupang announced yesterday that it would compensate each of the 33.7 million users affected by the breach, critics they're calling this package, quote-unquote, bait. In a nutshell, consumers have to spend more money in order to use the Coupang vouchers. Is this the way we want to wrap up 2025 on this collective sour note? I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Tuesday, December 30th on BEFM, 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the program. Can you believe we have just 2 days left in the year 2025? And it's time for tying up loose ends, and we will revisit the Coupang story a little later on. But when we look at the National Assembly, apparently not the case in terms of cooperation. The ruling Democratic Party, or DP, and the opposition People Power Party, or PPP leadership, they are still split over some details of the Unification Church Special Council. This follows days of filibuster over major bills last week, as well as another round of filibusters earlier in the month. If you think back to the beginning of the year or even the start of the 22nd National Assembly, there hasn't been much change in Parliament regarding party politics. The 22nd National Assembly began last May, and since then, lawmakers have been engaged in over 500 hours of filibuster. As this is going on, there are apparently 300 bills where objections were lodged within their respective standing committees, but the bill passed nonetheless, or the bills. Reports say that the old convention of lawmakers and parties prioritizing agreement or consensus before passing bills has basically disappeared. Question is, will things be better in the new year? Well, the DP has made it their party position that their first bill for the new year will be a second comprehensive special counsel bill. This, according to the DP, will supplement some of the shortfalls from the previous 3 special counsels. The PPP has said that they are fully against this bill, and this could result in another filibuster to kick off the new year. We often say that the new year, it's like a clean slate, new beginning. But it seems that this won't likely be the case for the National Assembly. Of course, we will report to you anything that comes out of Parliament, because that's what we do here on Morning Wave in Busan. But now, this is related to the passing of a legend. So we're going to talk about her later on. But let me ask you the waivers, this for our text topic. Are you ready? Who was or the cultural icon of your day? 자, 나 때의 아이콘, top star. 누구였나요? It could be more than one. I'll give you the option of, giving us multiple answers. So, as an example, this will show my age, but it's okay. I'm proud of my age. It's nothing to hide it or, to be ashamed about. I love how old I am. So, back in the day, 라떼는, who was really, really popular? Julia Roberts. She was like the movie star, right? And then we had the 90s supermodels. 요즘 그냥 아무나 supermodel라고 부를 수도 있다고 그러는데요. But back in the day, we're talking about Cindy Crawford, Kate Moss. She was the definition of the wavy, the really, really thin, kind of grunge, effortless, chic meets grunge kind of 90s girl. Others like Naomi Campbell. It goes on and on and on. And then 2 more. Nirvana. Oh my goodness. How can we leave out Nirvana? Kurt Cobain. And then, of course, everybody on Friends. That sitcom Friends. Even, was it RM of BTS saying he learned English from Friends? Yeah, that was an iconic show. Anyhow, I got the ball rolling. Now it's your turn. You can send in your responses, opinions to BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and type in BEFM or 부산영어방송 to find our channel. Subscribe, log in, and chat with our other waivers. From your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 101. You can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk. To find our account, type in same thing, BEFM, 부산영어방송. Add us as a friend first, and then you can send in your messages, photos as well. And you can listen to Morning Wave in Busan in so many different ways. 90.5 or 103.3 FM. That's if you're in Busan. Like I said, we're streaming live right now. You can watch again however many times at your leisure. Also available on the BEFM app and also the Papbang app. Sometimes we have glitches or issues with NotTube, so you might want to download the BEFM app ahead of time. All right, looking ahead to our Tuesday morning, our final Tuesday of 2025. We have Wave Sports with Andrew. And hour number 2, Bonnie was Simply Sustainable. But of course, we have our usual daily corners with Jian and Haley as well. Our special interview today, we're doing kind of like a review, looking back on 2025, looking ahead to 2026 in terms of politics. So stay tuned for our special interview in hour number 2. I'll be back with news overview. It is now 7:07 and this is News Overview. 2-day parliamentary hearing on coupon to begin. The National Assembly will hold a 2-day hearing starting today to address coupons personal data breach, unfair trade practices, and labor conditions. Defense Ministry sacks commanders involved in martial law. The Defense Ministry said yesterday that it has decided to remove Lieutenant Generals Yeo In-hyung, Lee Jin-woo, and Ko Hyun-suk from office and dismissed Lieutenant General Kwak Jong-gun from his post on their involvement in the martial law declaration. Government rules KT to waive all cancellation fees for hacking case. The Ministry of Science and ICT announced that KT Corporation's poor management of femtocells led to the security breach earlier this year, and that the telecom company should waive contract termination penalties for all customers. President says budget minister nominee needs to clarify martial law remarks. President Lee Jae-myung said that his nominee, Lee Hae-hun, for the Minister of Planning and Budget needs to clarify the remarks she made in support of former President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law bid. Trump meets Netanyahu in Florida for Gaza talks. U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met in Florida for talks for 5 major subjects, including Gaza, with President Trump claiming the two came to, quote-unquote, a lot of conclusions. And this was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Jean in the studio. Let's say hi first. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, you heard our text topic, so I want to hear. It'll date each and every one of us. It's okay. So let's hear about the cultural icons of your era.
I had to recall the time, and it was such a golden era for K-pop idols when I was young. From Girls' Generation, the Wonder Girls Tell Me vibe, and the Big Bang.
Tell me? Okay. So
That
we
would
can
be
all
nice.
sing along.
Yes, that
That's
would
such
be
a good
nice.
happy song, yes.
And also the boy bands like 2 p.m. Big Bangs. And I can also remember my friends
Yes.
were crying when the 동방신기, they split it.
Yeah, they split up into like 2
in school.
factions, right?
I can still remember girls crying so hard. And even teachers could not touch them because there were so many of them.
That's true. That's true. Aw, bringing back memories. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. So we're going to dive into our first local story. As AI continues to grow rapidly, Busan is also moving quickly to keep up. So I hear the city is preparing for a major step forward, correct?
That is correct. Busan will become the first local government with its own locally developed generative AI service starting next year. The system is designed to make city work more efficient and faster, with AI handling repetitive tasks so officials can focus on more important work.
Yes. And what outcomes is the city expecting?
The city highlighted security as the system's most distinctive feature. Instead of relying on external commercial networks, the AI is built on SLLM, a small large language model trained exclusively on internal data, fundamentally preventing the risk of administrative information leakage.
Okay.
In addition, RAG, or retrieval augmented generation technology, is applied to keep the AI operating safely and reliably for public sector use.
I see. What kind of practical support will public officials receive once this system is introduced?
City officials will be able to use the system for 22 types of administrative support, including Q&A services, drafting documents, and searching administrative data. Busan aims to develop the pilot AI into a standard model for public administration over the next 3 years.
All right. Thank you for the first story. Next up, let's talk about veterans. Veterans are, as a group, a vital pillar of our society, one we should, of course, never forget. I understand there is a meaningful move in Busan.
Busan City announced its 2026 Veterans Policy yesterday on 29th at City Hall. The city designated 2026 as the first year of Veterans Affairs in Busan and significantly increased its budget for veterans to 41 billion won. The number of recipients for the Veterans Honor Allowance, 보훈예산, will expand from 300,000 3,800 to 11,422. Monthly honor allowances will rise to 150,000 won for veterans aged 90 and over, while those aged 65 to under 90 will continue to receive 130,000 won.
I see. Are there plans that ordinary citizens can directly take part in?
Busan plans to open the Busan Independence Movement Memorial Hall, Busan 독립운동기념관 in Busan Citizens Park in the first half of 2027 as an experiential history education space.
Yes.
The city will also renovate memorial facilities and promote the Turn Toward Busan UN Veterans International Memorial Day as a citizen participation event while expanding history field trips for middle school and high school students.
I see. So thanks for letting us know about this one. Moving on to another story. I hear there was a controversy over a storm drain pipe on the eastern side of Dadepo Beach. So let's talk about the issue first.
Dadepo East Beach reopened this July for the first time in 30 years after a 35 billion won restoration project. However, a storm drain pipe left in the middle of the beach sparked criticism for harming the scenery. According to Sahagu District, relocation work for the drain pipe will begin in January 2026. The original plan was to move the pipe completely outside the beach, but concerns were raised about reduced drainage capacity and backflow risks, along with higher costs. As an alternative, the pipe will be relocated within the beach area, but shifted to the far edge that visitors rarely access. The district explained that areas near Seongchan breakwater are hard for visitors to access because of docked vessels. Full relocation was estimated to cost around 2 billion won, so this approach reduces costs and eases inconvenience for visitors quickly.
I see. Well, if construction starts in January, how long is this going to take? And the inconvenience to citizens, should we be aware of anything?
The district plans to complete the work by May, ensuring no disruption when the beach opens for the summer season. Dadepo Beach recorded about 2.58 million visitors this year, more than double last year's 1.15 million. With the drain pipe issue resolved, the district expects visitors' numbers to increase even further.
I see. Well, we want to be very inclusive of all our beaches, and the fact that we're focusing on this beach, I'm happy about. Our final story is one about rescue that was carried out by a Busan-based shipping company. So we need the backdrop to this story.
According to a Busan-based Yeongchang shipping company, their ship rescued more than 30 distressed refugees in the Mediterranean Sea. The YC Azalea, a 20,000-ton oil and chemical tanker, was sailing toward Port Said, Egypt, after passing through the Suez Canal at around 10:40 p.m. on the 13th. During the voyage, the ship received an emergency alert from Egypt's Joint Rescue Coordination Center in Cairo, reporting people in distress in nearby waters. Captain Kim Young-jin immediately reported the situation to the shipping company, deviated from the original route, and headed to the estimated distress location designated by the rescue authorities. After a 2-hour nighttime search, the crew located them at around 12:40 a.m.
Wow. So it must have been an extremely tense situation, especially late at night into early morning. Were all of them rescued safely?
Indeed. And yes, the vessel was a very small inflatable raft, overcrowded to the point that there was barely any space to stand. The YC Azalea carefully approached the raft and rescued all 35 people safely. The rescued individuals were later confirmed to be Sudanese nationals. The ship arrived at Port Said on the 15th and safely handed all rescued refugees over to local authorities. This rescue operation in international waters is being recognized as a clear example of the humanitarian response demonstrated by Korean-flagged vessels and their crews.
Well, thank you for ending on this story. Of course, all the local stories were great as well. So thank you for all the great information, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Jin.
Thank you.
All right, I'll be back with your traffic and weather. It It is now 7:18. Here is your traffic report. First up, there are 2 accidents to report on. First up on 중앙대로 toward 덕계, right in front of the 노포 Busan bus terminal. Please be aware of this. Another accident on 낙동대로 from Daeji Station to Sahagu District Office at Gwaejeong intersection. There's a bit of congestion on the Dongso overpass from Bumnukgo ramp to the old Kaegum toll gate. It's backed up on Luno Samsungdaero from Myeongji underpass to Shino Bridge as well. Currently, it is 4 degrees Celsius under clear skies in Busan. It's going to go up to just 8 degrees. So this is colder than yesterday, obviously. Bad fine dust and ultrafine dust levels this morning. Across the nation, significantly colder today than yesterday with sub-zero temperatures in the capital area with a daytime high only going up to 0 in some areas, all the way up to 9 degrees depending on where you are. Strong winds are bringing down the real field temperatures. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley in the studio. Let's say hi first. Happy Tuesday.
Good morning.
Yes. Fun text topic because we're talking about cultural icons. And I'm just going to read one message from one of our listeners. 12 cha-cha-cha. I love the username.
Oh, okay. I was like, is that the icon that I don't... Who? What?
No, the username. Big Bang, Girls' Generation, Linkin Park. Linkin Park.
Wait, how old are you?
It's like...
But then Big Bang, Girls' Generation, I get it. But then Linkin Park?
Yeah, but Linkin Park, they've been popular through many
my
years.
nephew, who's in the 3rd grade, loves Linkin Park.
Oh, see?
Yeah. I'm like,
So-
how do you know? They're like your dad's age. What? Anyways.
Yes. In terms of like the whole age issue, all our answers might kind of date us a little.
Yeah.
But I've seen like answers all over the place. But
Right.
let's get your take.
Oops, I did it again. And I won't dance, but because I'm not allowed to. Yeah. Britney Spears. The whole Britney, Christina, the team. That was like the OG, like the team. What are you team Bae or are you team Swiftie? Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera.
Oh,
Britney Spears is an icon for sure. And then I think in Korea, okay, I'm done. Lee Jung-hyun with her weirdly placed unconventionally placed microphones on her pinky. There was like the back of her hand. That was fun. That was fun.
피디님 우리 노래방 가야 될 것 같아요. 혜리 씨 흥이 아직
At 7:21 in the morning.
Yes.
That
was good. Okay,
you.
we're going to jump into our top stories now. The 민중기 Special Council yesterday announced its findings across 6 months. So let's go over the key points.
Right, so the Minjungi Special Council concluded that a president's spouse, referring to ex-First Lady Kim Gun-hee, allegedly illegally intervened in governance, quote unquote, behind the curtains where the people's eyes couldn't reach her. So an official from the special counsel, Kim Hyung-gun, gave the briefing, criticizing Kim Gun-hee's actions as, quote, selling influence on a level that you would see only in history books.
Yes. What specific charges have been brought up?
Right, multiple, but let's go through the key ones. The special counsel said that Kim allegedly received money or material goods from the Unification Church officials Han Hak-ja and Yoon Young-ho, construction company chair Lee Bong-gan, robotics entrepreneur Seo Sung-bin, former chief prosecutor Kim Sang-min, and lawmaker Kim Gi-yeon and his wife, all in all worth about 377 million won. This includes the most expensive one being a painting by master Lee Woo-hwan, allegedly given by prosecutor Kim Sang-min in exchange for favors in general elections nomination. This painting was appraised at 140 million won.
Yes.
Also, the very highly publicized goods including multiple designer jewelry, luxury bags, and etc. So 5 people have been indicted under arrest, 7 others without. 66 people have been passed on to trial. However, the special counsel failed to apply bribery charges to Kim Gun-hee, as that is a very specific charge requiring the recipient of the alleged bribe being a public official, which
Yes.
the First Lady, that is arguable. There must be links to the official's task and reciprocation for favors.
The special counsel also honed in on the Deutsche Motors case.
Right. So this was kind of digging up an old case because the prosecution had previously ruled that it will not press charges against Kim Gun-hee. However, the Minjung-gi special counsel actually did indict her for violation of the Capital Market Act, and they actually assessed this conclusion as concluding a prolonged social controversy.
Yes. Well, how did the former First Lady's side respond to all this?
So they didn't actually issue a very strong rejection or denial of the charges,
Right.
but said that the investigation does not end with words, but ultimately in court with evidence. So they're basically implying that they will fight the charges in court.
Yes. And this particular special counsel had its own controversies.
Right, so going back to the theme today of tying up loose ends, there are some loose ends. The biggest issue was with a public official who had been under investigation for the Yangpyeong, the expressway destination change that charge.
Yes.
One public official committed suicide.
Right.
And that has incited questions about whether there were coercive methods taken. An official, Moon Hong-ju, with the special counsel, apologized to the families again yesterday. There was also a separate allegation of partial investigation involving the whole unification church scandal, that there were several Democratic Party lawmakers or officials implicated, but that the special counsel didn't bring up charges against them.
Okay.
That's been passed on to the police. Overall, the council, for its part yesterday, expressed its regrets about a shortage of time. And many of the cases, including the unification church one, they've now gone to the police.
I see. So that's a lowdown with what's been happening with the special counsel on those fronts. Yes, this wraps up all the three special counsel investigations. And this is the biggest scale it's ever been.
Right, because it is the first time in constitutional history that there were three concurrent special counsels working at the same time.
Right.
Pretty much targeting the same target,
Yes.
essentially. The three special counsels launched as the first bill under the new Lee Jae-myung administration. So there was the insurrection charge special counsel led by Cho Eun-seok. The Minjung-gi special counsel focused on the former first lady, and the
Right.
investigation into the Marine's death by special counsel Lee Myung-hyun. Quickly recap, the three special counsels arrested 24 people, including former President Yoon Suk-yeol, and indicted 121 people.
Yes.
Ex-President Yoon faces 7 trials. Ex-First Lady Kim Gun-hee, 3 trials. This also marks the first time that a former first couple has been indicted at the same time.
True. Well, thanks for going over all the logistics and the details of these cases. We're going to move on and talk about Coupang. And I briefly mentioned this during the opening, announcing its compensation measures for customers following the data breach. Is it compensation?
Right. So that was an interesting timeline yesterday when Coupang announced its compensations. The measures seemed huge. And then you parse into it. All right. So first, the big numbers. Coupang announced a 1.6 trillion won compensation package for customers yesterday. And this includes not only current customers, but also those who have canceled their membership.
Yes.
So this comes a day after its founder and chairman of the board, Kim Bum-seok, issued his first apology a month into the data breach scandal.
Yes.
The temporary CEO of Coupang Korea, Harold Rogers, said in a statement that the company deeply repents on how this affected the customers, and they have thus come up with the measures to take responsible steps for its consumers.
Well, let's get into the details of the compensation measures.
Right, so it's 1.6 trillion won, but across 33.7 million users. So that comes out to 5만 원. 50,000 won worth of compensations. Here are the specifics, though. Gotta read the fine print.
Yes.
The coupons or credits will be awarded in the amount of 5,000 won, 5,000 won for all Coupang products. Another 5,000 won for Coupang Eats, 20,000 won for Coupang Travel, and 20,000 won for Coupang Alux. So it's divided up across its different platforms. They'll be rolled out starting next month, and you can check the credits on your Coupang app, and details will come later.
Right. And even as our producers right now, 알럭스 들어보신 분, I mean, if you see it, you might see it like as the R and the LUX.
Lux, yeah.
Yes, Lux as in luxury. How has this been received by customers? Because I went to lunch at a restaurant. I heard people, the buzz around me at the tables.
And we can't say those words on
we
air.
can't say
Yeah,
it.
so
Yes.
underwhelming, really. So because 50,000 won on the surface was like, because initially I was like, that's decent.
Yes.
But again, it's broken up into several affiliates. So for individual customers, if I'm not going to buy a luxury bag on that our Lux site,
Yes.
well, that's 20,000 won out the window. Right. So Coupang said they're spending collectively, specifically 1.685 trillion won. But this is only if every single customer cashes in on every single coupon
Yes.
that's out there. By the way, we don't know how many exactly because the company hasn't provided the numbers. But I personally know people who have canceled their membership out of the 33.7 million. So
Yes.
how are they supposed to use the coupons is also another question.
Good question. All right, we're going to move on to our next topic. In Korea, education, college admissions, hot topic. Well, college applications are now open for regular admissions. It's Cheongshi time. What should applicants know?
So much, but applying for colleges in Korea, it's a whole like 수능 math question on its own, right? Because there are limits. You can't just apply to 100 schools and hope one takes you. So applications opened yesterday. They're due by December 31st for 4-year universities, January 14th for 2 or 3-year vocational schools.
Yes.
So there are 3 categories, 가군, 나군, and 다군, and they're usually established by competitiveness,
Yes.
kind of prestige. So students can apply to 1 school per category. So technically you can apply to 3 schools.
Yes.
And then students who got accepted in early admission, 수시, you cannot apply to regular admissions even if you did really well on your 수능. So they sometimes call it like the early admissions abduction.
Yes.
Right. But there are exceptions for KAIST and UNIS, so the public tech schools.
Yes. Let's talk about the competition.
I mean, it's always competitive, but with 193 4-year universities in South Korea, they're collectively taking 69,272 regular admissions openings. That's a little under 20% of the entire quota. So although there's a really huge emphasis on 수능, the CSATs, it is just about 1/5 of the total admissions.
Right.
Although early admission students, many of them do need like a minimal CSAT
Yes.
score. But that figure, 69,000, it is down by 1,416 compared to last year. So experts are saying that the regular admissions quota, that's gone down. The CSATs were hard,
Yes.
the magma English, and the number of applicants actually went up by 30,000 compared to the previous year. So competition by sheer numbers will be tougher.
Okay. What should applicants keep in mind when choosing which schools to apply?
Right, because here's the thing. Every single university has a different weight, a reflection of different subjects. So like 국영수, how much math, Korean language or English, and the exploration sciences and social studies
Yes.
are weighed into the total score. So you really want to look at that versus how well you did in each of those subjects. This year in particular, of course, we're looking at the English subject too,
Yes.
but the 사탐 run, the high number of social studies test takers, that will be a key variable. Above all, though, the basics, because you want to get your application in.
Yes.
And by in, I mean you need to have paid and seen that and click that 결제 완료 payment complete process for the application to be in. And also, don't...
Why are you stressed?
I get so stressed out. 11:40 is not the time to start clicking.
No.
So please, and then because you think you're going to be the only one, I'm sorry, I get so mad. Traffic goes up an hour or 2 hours prior to the deadline. So
Yes.
apply at least several, I would say, hours beforehand. I know that they want to get
Yes.
to the latest competition rate, but then also, you want to get your applications in.
Because past the deadline, you are out.
Done.
And see all the hair loss I've had this past year.
See, look at my fine lines. Look at my
The
wrinkles.
Stress, the stress. Okay. We're going to move on to some international news. Peace talks between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had just wrapped up during our program yesterday, if you remember. Let's go over what happened.
Right. So some process, but not enough. So talks in Florida ended Sunday. Both presidents acknowledged that progress has been made, but the territory still continues to be the sticking point.
Right.
We do have numbers. I don't know how arbitrary they are, but Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said they came to a 90% agreement, but then that's also the number he gave going in.
True.
So, do the math. U.S. President Donald Trump said a security guarantee for Ukraine was close to 95% complete.
Oh, the antics of 90, 95. Well, what exactly is the issue with land, the territory?
I'm going to throw you some numbers as well. So since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Moscow has taken over and controls about 20% of Ukrainian territory. Specifically, the Donetsk region, it controls 75%. Almost all, 99% of the neighboring Luhansk region.
Right.
Donetsk and Luhansk are collectively known as the Donbas region. So Russia wants Ukraine to pull back from a small part of that territory. It still controls in Donbas, but Ukraine insists that the area become basically a free economic zone and a demilitarized zone.
Oh, well, we need to know. President Trump, where does he stand on all of this?
Depending on when that question was asked, because he has flip-flopped on the issue. But in the latest statement after the meeting, President Trump said that some of the land has been taken, some of that land is maybe up for grabs, but it may be taken over the next period of a number of months.
Oh.
So again, yeah.
So with no signatures yet on the ceasefire, when will the next round of talks take place? Do we know?
There are more talks, but nothing concrete, and I apologize for that. But Zelensky suggested that Ukrainian officials could meet at the White House in January, potentially with some European leaders as well. President Trump floated the possibility of trilateral talks with the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine. But this could happen, quote, at the right time.
Yes. And following these talks, there have been reports of an attack on Russian President Vladimir Putin's residence. Do we know anything about this?
Right. So one of his residences, but Russia's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, claimed that Ukraine launched an attack overnight with long-range unmanned aerial vehicles. So basically drone attacks on Putin's state residence in Russia's northwestern region. Unclear whether Putin was actually in his residence. But Russia's now saying it will have to review its positions in peace negotiations, although it hasn't fully pulled out.
Okay, so did Ukraine launch the attacks? Or
according to Ukraine, no. President Zelensky dismissed the claim as typical Russian lies. His quotes intended to give the Kremlin an excuse to continue the attacks on Ukraine.
I see. Well, thanks for the very detailed reports. And of course, we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right, we are ready for our first song. So are you ready for this one? And yes, get your mics out. And let's see some dancing. Tell Me by Wonder Girls. It's time for Wave
Sports.
Yes. How are you, Andrew?
Good. And you?
I'm okay. Hi, I want your take on our text topic.
All right. What was it?
Cultural icons from your era.
Oh. Well, I think what would you say like my era? Like is this like my high school era or
Whenever. Who stands out in your mind? The most popular cultural figure, whether it's sports, the entertainment industry.
Well, I was a big I guess, these two individuals were icons but then became even more did you say posthumously? Like after someone dies?
Posthumously.
Posthumously, yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Which would be like Tupac and Biggie.
Yes.
Those two would be in there for sure. The Spice Girls. So if I'm just thinking music related,
The Spice Girls.
Britney Spears,
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys, those individuals.
Yes.
Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie.
The couple that, yeah.
And then you got like Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods.
Oh,
Yeah.
all the great sports
Yeah,
stars.
I don't know. Yeah, so I'm trying
It
to.
goes
think.
on and on.
It does.
It does,
And
yes.
then whenever it's always like when you think about one of these questions, you say one name and then you're like, oh yeah, this person.
It goes on and on.
Oh yeah, this person.
And by the way, people are noticing your lack of mustache, facial hair.
It's a bit chilly. It's a bit chilly without my lip sweater. Yeah.
Yes. People love you so much they notice.
That
Yes.
came off on Saturday.
Oh.
And I don't know if the boys are watching, but thank you for helping with that. They actually
really?
enjoyed it. They're like,
Oh, I was like, did they pull out each hair?
Yeah, I'm sure
be
they
fun.
wouldn't have
With
minded
tweezers.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So we have a little bit of a special for today. Let's get to our clip, and maybe that's going to set everything up.
That's right.
The long journey is over. McElroy has his masterpiece.
The Florida Panthers back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. The Dodgers stand tall and win back-to-back titles. Eagles fly in Super Bowl 59.
For the first time, the NBA champion resides in Oklahoma City. Liverpool, the Premier League champions. Liverpool, once again, the kings of England.
I had to leave off of that. It was all right.
Yes,
If I'm going to have to listen to the Dodgers winning another World Series, I'll finish it with Liverpool winning their first championship in 30 years.
That's right. Kudos to Liverpool.
Now, what I was going to say, not 30 years, I guess it was a little bit, they had won previously anyway.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of our year in review. Now, obviously, those clips you just heard, we're going to talk about them. And then some other things. And so we'll kick things off here. Rory McIlroy was one of the biggest stories this year.
Yes.
Finally achieved the moment golf fans have been waiting for for more than a decade. He completed his career Grand Slam by winning the Masters. Now, I remember I watched this live. I stayed up late to watch this, or got up early.
Yes,
got
so
up
did
early,
I. Yeah.
Watched it late. You're up early anyway, but it was
but it was real early.
It was a chore for me, we'll say that much. But yeah, so it was something that in golf, I guess even if you come close to this, you still have a legacy, but this is definitely a legacy defining achievement that ended years of near miss heartbreak, because he was set up for this, like, I guess it was for 10 years.
Yes.
You know, and there's also other individuals who get set up for it and never reach it. But he was like, he was never the bride, always a bridesmaid for the past 10 years in those in those tournaments. So
I'm wearing green just for him. It's not the same shade of green.
She knew it.
It's not the same shade, but the green jacket, he finally got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now moving on to the NHL, the Florida Panthers back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. And defeating the Edmonton Oilers in back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. Now, this was something that I thought, well, maybe it's just me being Canadian. It was a tough year for Canadian sports teams, I tell you, or a tough couple of years. Now, a lot of people thought, all right, Edmonton will get it done this time. They didn't. And it was heartbreak across the nation again. The nation didn't know that just a few short months later it was going to happen again with the Major League Baseball World Series, where the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Lo she'll claim, my Los Angeles Dodgers.
I'm still clapping. Sorry. Okay.
First team in 25 years to win back-to-back World Series championships. And it was one that, whether if you're on the LA side, you came out of this feeling a little bit better. But even on the Canadian side or the Blue Jays side, it was probably one of the best World Series we've seen
and Game 7?
In that many years.
The last game?
Yeah. It was, right down to the last pitch. There was still a chance to keep the game going. So, congrats to the LA Dodgers, but also to the Blue Jays for giving us one heck of a series. It was pretty amazing.
It was. It was.
Then on to the Super Bowl. Are you a football fan?
I used to be, but that's one game I stopped following since I came here. It's tough.
It was funny. When I was in uni, my roommates were massive football fans.
Right.
So it was like Saturday was like 3 TVs of college football. Sunday was 5 TVs of NFL. And it was, but then when I came here, maybe the first couple years, I was still into it because I still knew a lot of the players. Now if I turn on a game,
I don't know who's who.
I'm like, who's Jimmy Jojo? Like, I don't know who these, and that's no.
I only know, what's her name? Like,
Britney Spears?
No.
Or not?
Britney
Taylor Swift's fiance or whatever it is.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's tough to follow since it's not a real popular sport here.
Yeah, exactly. So the Philadelphia Eagles emerged NFL champions in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, and kind of knocking the Chiefs off their perch because they had won back-to-back, and it was going to be, a lot of people were like, well, if they win 3, it'll put them up there with the Patriots. Never going to happen. All right. Then over in the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder claimed the 2025 NBA championship, defeating the Indiana Pacers in another thrilling Game 7 series, which is pretty amazing because it's a young team. It's an up-and-coming team. And I think, they surprised a lot of people, which I always enjoy. Longtime listeners would know that I'm not a huge basketball fan, but something like this I can really appreciate because hopefully, they keep things going. And then in football, we could talk about 1,800 different leagues.
Right.
But we'll talk about the Premier League in Liverpool winning. Yes. But now they did, they were able to do this, with several games to spare. So it was kind of like there was like a celebration. And then the final game of the season was another celebration, which was kind of cool. And they're able to do this at Anfield with the fans, which is pretty amazing. Now, moving on to some other sports and things around the world.
Right.
Now, global football and soccer, it's growing even more. And I just want to, obviously, we have the World Cup coming up in 2026 with Mexico, the U.S., and Canada. But women's football, it's more growth. The Women's Champions League in Europe continues to grow. The tournaments are attended by more and more people.
True.
And I feel, they're going in the right direction. They're going in the right direction. Now, on the other side of that, we have the WNBA. Now, I want to say they're doing better. Now, obviously, the whole Caitlin Clark thing definitely helps.
What about their salaries, though? And then, like, there's always two sides or multiple sides to the story. But, I mean, the pay disparity.
Sure.
Plus, also, the revenue that comes in is different.
The revenue that comes in, that's the biggest thing. Ticket prices are cheaper. The amount of people that are at games, there's not. I know when you throw a sports highlight on or whatever, and you see the games that, Caitlin Clark was playing in last season, they were sold out. In other games that she wasn't playing in, they were not even close to being at capacity, right? So that's a big thing there. Also, their TV deal, is not as big, all these kind of things. So hopefully that does move forward and the game continues to grow on the women's side. A big thing this past year and probably the past few years was sports media and streaming. So we know a lot of the leagues get a lot of their revenue from their TV deals.
Yes.
And now they're going on the other side of it, away from the traditional. I mean, it's still there. But, the streaming sites, like we just saw with the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua being on the N Network, it was, that was pretty easy. If you had a subscription, you could...
hop on over,
Hop on over. You didn't need to do the pay-per-view, if you will.
That's
so it makes things a little bit easier. One of the biggest stories, well, actually, there were two involving basketball and baseball, and this was sports gambling. Now, I reported on this probably 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
Yes.
And the integrity of these games and people being able to bet on what these are called prop bets, which, they change every inning or every half, or who's going to hit the first free throw, who's going to get the first foul, which are things that might be easily controlled by players, which the betting agencies don't. Oh, they like it because, people get like, I'll throw money on this, and then they lose it.
They throw money on anything.
Exactly.
People who are going to bet.
Now, on to some Korean standout things over this past year. Obviously, Son Heung-min, we talked about him probably 3 weeks in a row, winning Athlete of the Year, Footballer of the Year, Sports Story of the Year here in Korea. And I think it's going to continue to grow. I hope there is a little bit of a come down on that side of it with him where he can just focus on the football.
Sure.
But I'm sure brand deals in America are still going to come his way.
Of course.
I mean, I don't think the money, the flow of the cash
that's not going
to slow down.
Yeah.
Next here in the KBO, they continue to break attendance records year on year. I guess, since fans were allowed to be back, I guess they were totally back in 2022, I think it was. 2022, 2023. Yeah, so after the pandemic, and the league surpassing 12 million total spectators over the season.
Yes.
And this is something that, we talked about it in the early days, even at the end when Lotte weren't playing great, it still wasn't easy to get tickets.
Right, but this past season, it was really difficult.
And that was around the league. I remember I had friends who were like, Lotte's playing in Seoul. Maybe I'll be able to. No, not happening. And then speaking of the KBO, the LG Twins did win the Korean series, their second in 3 years, I believe it was. Congrats to them. Lotte, come on. 2026
we have time
is
for
year.
one more.
One more. The National Sports Festival in Busan.
Oh, yeah.
This is something that went on. There was the sports festival, and then also on the other side, the Tangyeon Festival as well. So this was a 106th National Sports Festival that was held here in Busan. First time in 25 years.
That's right.
And I think the city put a stamp on things. It won't be another 25 years because of how well it ran.
Right.
The organization and everything that went into it. And also a shout out to all the volunteers that were, made themselves available, because without them, it would not work out.
Absolutely true. Thanks for the year in review for sports. And of course, I do want to wish you ahead of time a Happy New Year.
Yeah, I'll see you next year.
Oh, that sounds so weird, but
I'm
yes.
that dad joke guy. I'll see you next year.
All right. Oh, so cheesy. Love it. Oh my gosh. 오늘 왜 이럴까요? But we love Andrew. We take him in
sometimes.
all the time.
Bye, everyone.
This was Andrew with Wave Sports, and we are continuing down our memory lane. So here it is. Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears.
best friend. Oh baby, it might seem like a crush, but it doesn't mean that I'm serious. 'Cause to lose all my senses, that is just so typically me. Oh baby, baby, I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in the game. Oh baby, baby, oops, you think I'm in love, that I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent. You see, my problem is this: I'm dreaming away, wishing that heroes they truly exist. I cry watching the days. Can't you see I'm a fool in so many ways? But to lose all my senses, that is just so typically me. Baby, oh, I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in the game. Oh baby, baby, oops, you think I'm in love, that I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent.
Brittany, before you go, there's something I want you to have.
Oh, it's beautiful. But wait a minute, isn't this?
Yeah, yes it is.
But I thought the old lady dropped it into the ocean in the end.
Well, baby, I went down and got it for you.
Oh, you shouldn't have. Oops, I did it again to your heart. Got lost in this game, oh baby. Oops, you think I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent. Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart. Got lost in the game.
Your bridge to the world. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
기업체 사장님들 아직도 직영으로 식당 운영하고 계십니까? 위탁급식과 도시락 전문기업 더 좋은 푸드에 맡겨보십시오. 운영비 절감 효과 확실합니다. 식대는 협의 후 맞춰드립니다. 지역 부산 경남 051-784-0877 051-784-0877
한국전쟁 당시 우리를 먼저 도운 에티오피아 6천여 명의 군인들은 자신들의 월급을 모아 부모 잃은 아이들을 위해 보화원이라는 고아원도 세워주었습니다. 그러나 지금 에티오피아는 위기에 처해 있습니다. 끊이지 않는 내정과 기후재난으로 대부분의 의료시설은 파괴되었고 의약품도 부족해 간단히 치료할 수 있는 질병으로 사망에 이르는 상황입니다. 바로 지금이 우리가 에티오피아에 진 빚을 갚을 때입니다. 지금 전화해주세요. 후원 문의 080-982-0119 국제구조위원회.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
was so busy this morning. I didn't even get to check my messages. I almost got hit.
Here comes the safety hero. Stop right there, Smombi. Put your phone away. Keep your head up. Look around.
What was I doing? Thank you. I'm finally free from being a Smombi.
As you just heard, even a quick text could lead to a serious accident. This kind of behavior has a name, Smombi, a word created by combining smartphone and zombie.
Walk with your head up and check your surroundings before you move. Let's build a safer traffic culture and keep our streets free from Smombies. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고. 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It's now 8 o'clock. This is Spotlight News. Two-day parliamentary hearing on coupon to begin. The National Assembly will hold a two-day hearing starting today to address Coupang's personal data breach, unfair trade practices, and labor conditions. The e-commerce giant's founder and board chairman Kim Bum-seok and his younger brother, Coupang vice president Kim Yoo-seok, have submitted notices of absence. Meanwhile, Coupang announced its compensation plans worth more than 1.68 trillion won yesterday, including 50,000 won worth of discounts on coupons to each of its 33.7 million customers. Defense Ministry sacks commanders involved in martial law. The Defense Ministry said yesterday that it has decided to remove Lieutenant Generals Yeo In-hyung, Lee Jin-woo, and Ko Hyun-seok from office and dismiss Lieutenant General Kwak Jong-gun from his post for their involvement in the martial law declaration. Yeo, Lee, and Ko are standing trial in the insurrection case for mobilizing and sending troops to the National Assembly and the National Election Commission on the night of December 3rd. The Defense Ministry Disciplinary Committee has not announced its decision on Major General Moon Sang-ho as relevant proceedings are still ongoing. Government rules KT to waive all cancellation fees for hacking case. The Ministry of Science and ICT announced that KT Corporation's poor management of femtocells led to the security breach earlier this year, and that the telecom company should waive contract termination penalties for all customers. The Science Minister released its report into the mobile carrier's security breach that led to unauthorized micropayments totaling 243 million won across 368 users. The ministry requested KT to take preventative measures, including regularly checking the authentication server's IP address and establishing systems to detect and block access attempts by unauthorized femtocells. President says budget minister nominee needs to clarify martial law remarks. President Lee Jae-myung said that his nominee, Lee Hae-hoon, for the Minister of Planning and Budget needs to clarify the remarks she made in support of former President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law bid. The third-term Conservative Party lawmaker had previously made comments supporting Yoon's martial law attempt and has taken part in rallies opposing his impeachment. President Lee said that the nominee should clarify her intentions to sever ties with such issues and be vetted by the people. But he also added that the process of fierce debate with those who have different opinions could create new and reasonable policies, said his office. Trump meets Netanyahu in Florida for Gaza talks. U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met in Florida for talks for 5 major subjects, including Gaza, with President Trump claiming the two came to a lot of conclusions. The Trump administration is pushing for phase 2 of the ceasefire to start in January, including Hamas disarming, Israeli troops withdrawing, and reconstruction of the devastated territory in Gaza. In a press conference with Netanyahu, Trump said he is not concerned about Israel's actions regarding phase 2 and that Israel has entirely lived up to the plan. He warned that Hamas would be given a very short period to disarm. This was Spotlight News. It's time for a special interview on this Tuesday morning. The year 2025 was an extraordinary year for South Korean politics, marked by deep political turmoil, a sudden leadership transition, and renewed questions about democratic stability. And these events have reshaped the political landscape and raised important questions about governance, public trust, and what comes next. Today, we take a look back at the key political issues that defined 2025 and discuss what South Korea's political landscape may look like in 2026. Joining us today is Professor Kim Byung-ju, former diplomat and affiliate professor at Hankuk University of Foreign Studies. Hi, Professor. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Yes, great to hear that. Looking back, what would you say was the most defining political moment or issue in South Korea in 2025?
I'm sure not just me, but almost everybody here in this country would probably pinpoint the change of the government from Yoon government to Lee government was the biggest change, biggest defining moment for Korea in terms of political moment right there. And we remember, as previous President Yoon declared martial law at the end of 2024, the legislature, National Assembly stepped in to stop it, and then judiciary played its part to offer judgment early part of this year, making it illegal. And so we saw the play out of the Korea's democratic institutions doing its job overall. And of course, until the judiciary makes its decision to make it illegal, of course, we had a strong protest on the street, Seoul and elsewhere, and we almost felt like the country was divided half and half. But however, as soon as the judiciary handed down its ruling, people accepted it, and we came to agree on establishing a new government. That's another very strong achievement for the democracy of this country as a whole.
Yes.
And since then, since the inauguration of Lee government, we saw considerably high level of performance and also people's approval rating higher than what we remember in many years in terms of how the Lee government performs doing its job. Relatively high level of satisfaction and approval. That's, I guess, what we have seen this year.
Thank you for giving us the most defining political moment in your eyes. And the political turmoil this year, how did this affect public trust, do you think, in terms of leadership and also democratic institutions?
Yeah, I think we have to go back, not just this year, but the year before, perhaps.
Right.
And what we have seen was a gross mistake made by the previous President Yoon in terms of criminalizing the political opponent and using law as a political weapon to choke off political competition. And I think he truly believed that his political opponent was a criminal and someone that he should not deal with in politics, which was a gross mistake. Because not only we have criminal justice system here in Korea, but also we have political institutions. And when the critical political institution legislature, the National Assembly, was controlled by the opposition party, President Yoon still continued to refuse to deal with the opposition party, and opposition party reacted by refusing to cooperate with his government. And that led to his demise, his declaration of martial law and so on. Now, I think we have learned a lesson that the country's top political leadership should not try to criminalize political opposition and should not try to use law as a political weapon.
Yes.
And the thing is, I think we have seen this being repeated throughout Korean history, and same mistake being made again and again. And I really hope this time we have learned a clear lesson, and politics must go on, and you have to deal with the other side, because democracy, we need change of government, and people choose different governments. It's not like once you're in power, you're not there forever.
Yes.
And you have to deal with the reality and should not abuse legal system as a political weapons.
Right. And, 2025, there was a continuation of party politics and political polarization. How have these two things shaped the government's ability to respond to pressing domestic issues?
Again, I think the political polarization issue was very, very prominent a year before 2024, as the politics was polarized between previous President Yoon in control of executive government and an opposition Democratic Party in control of legislature. We didn't see politics, we didn't see compromise, we didn't see discussion, and that has led us to the tragic incident of declaration of martial law. And finally, after the change of the government and the Lee government takes control over the executive government, as well as also Democratic parties continue to control the legislature. Now we see actions on the surface, right? Policies being introduced into the form of law and everything. So things began to go smoother. But this does not mean that we have overcome polarization of politics at all.
True.
If you look into politics itself, inside of it itself, you see Democratic Party being led further to its extreme by its extreme members. And even the party leadership is being drawn into that extreme. And I know people with right mind and with a sense of balance do not like to see that happening. Same story goes to People Power Party, the party itself being led to the other extreme. And people in the center, people with the sense of balance, feeling that they're kind of like left behind, no one cares about them.
Right.
And political actions are taking place on either ends. And that's a tragedy. That's what we have to overcome. And hopefully, we'll take some steps towards overcoming such problem in the new year, I hope.
Yes, indeed. And other issues, foreign policy and trade, those were big issues in 2025. And how did the government's approach to these issues influence politics as well?
I think in terms of performance, in terms of the Lee government doing what it needs to do, I think it has done a quite tremendous job, very well done, especially particularly in the foreign policy area, dealing with the toughest ever Trump government, Trump 2.0, dealing with the tough negotiations and not giving in as readily as some of our allies have done, like Japan has done, and other countries. Korea did a good job. Trump himself, when I saw him in Gyeongju speaking, he recognized Korea was a very tough negotiating partner. And so, did a great job. And I think people were united behind the Lee government in achieving those kind of performance. And further on, APEC summit itself was a big success for the Lee government. And also President himself going around the world for seeking rare earth materials and supply chain securities and so on. So overall, very good job, very well done altogether, making people quite satisfied, which is separate from performance of government is separate from the political side of it. And I know people are not completely happy the way politics has been progressing under the Lee government.
Yes.
There are rooms to be filled, but in terms of government performance itself, Lee government has done a good job. The only thing I want to add is the policy toward North Korea has not unified the country, and the voices we hear inside Lee government has, in some sense, enraged some of the conservatives.
I see.
And of course, what conservatives say equally enrages the progressives. So the policy towards North Korea, that was the weakest point in terms of not being able to unify the country, rather just letting the differences among his team members being expressed so dramatically outside.
Yes. And as we wrap up our discussion today, Professor, taking a peek into 2026, what challenges do you think Korea will need to navigate most carefully?
I think the biggest one is June 3rd, local elections. That's the opportunity where people can express their satisfaction or dissatisfaction towards how politics is progressing. And if, Lee government has done a good job, as I said, in government performance, governance and everything, but politically speaking, unifying the country and dealing with the polarization, I think that there's a room for dissatisfaction and room for improvement, and how people will express their views on this leading up to June 3rd. We still have a lot of time in political calendar. 6 months is a long time. So I hope the Lee government will do better. President Lee will do better, politically speaking, so that people will express their satisfaction rather than dissatisfaction.
Yes.
But we'll see. I mean, I'm not taking any side of the party here, but we will be closely watching how people express their views coming up on the June 3rd local elections. Among many things, that's the one thing I'm keeping my eyes on.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much for not just today, all the interviews over the past year. Wishing you nothing but the best in the coming new year. Happy New Year, Professor.
Thank you very much. Same to you too as well.
This was Professor Kim Byung-ju for a special interview today, looking back on some key issues for 2025, looking ahead to 2026. I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's time for your traffic update. First up, an accident on Luno Samsung-daedo from Ulsuk-do to Shinho Bridge. In that direction, a cargo truck and a car have collided right before the Myeongji underpass. There's a motorcycle accident on Bansonglo from Bansong to Seokdae intersection right before Seokdae. And there's a broken down cargo truck there was on Gwangan Bridge, the bottom portion on the Namcheon ramp. It's been towed, but there's still some residual backup. It's backed up also on Chungnyeol-daedo from Dongnae to Daesung intersection, and it's busy on Mandok-daedo from Sukdeung to Deokcheon intersection. Currently, it's 5 degrees under clear skies. It's going to go up to just 8 degrees today. Bad fine dust levels this morning in Busan. Across the nation, significantly colder than yesterday, with sub-zero temperatures in the capital area, and strong winds are bringing down the real field temperatures. This was your traffic and weather. time for Waggle Waggle Tea Time. Haley's here.
Hello, hello.
Yes, so many good songs today.
I'm so tired.
I'm all the singing and dancing.
Just chair dancing or maybe real dancing and singing outside my writer's desk. I'm like, I've sufficiently depleted my energy. I think I can go home now.
Really?
No. I see the song list. No.
No. Well, we're going to jump into our first story. Multiple doctors have been apprehended this year for illegal prescriptions that have even resulted in the death of patients.
Right. So the Seoul Central District Prosecution announced the results of its year-long crackdown against crimes involving medical pharmaceuticals or simply drugs, including narcotics, resulting in 41 people, including some doctors, getting caught.
Okay.
So this includes specific cases. One doctor who allegedly administered 1,000 rounds of Propofol, and even allegedly sexually assaulted a patient. We'll get to the specifics in a bit, but an overall number count. So the Seoul Central District Prosecution Office formed a dedicated medical drugs or narcotics bust team in the wake of relevant cases that happened last year in February. For this year, they've caught, as I said, 41 people, including 3 doctors, 17 distributors, 20 users, and that includes 6 arrests.
Okay, well, let's look at some of the, I guess, shocking cases.
So because a lot of them involve doctors with the oath, do no harm, and their alleged actions seem to point the opposite direction. So one doctor who has been indicted under arrest allegedly administered Propofol, as I said, to 62 people across 3 years for non-medicine or non-medical purposes. Propofol, by the way, is a widely used, it's administered through an IV, so 링겔. It's a general anesthetic and sedative that suppresses brain and nervous system activity. And this doctor allegedly made 800 million won. 8억 won in profit. Here's the thing though, 7 of the patients who were given Propofol at his clinic committed suicide at a young age after experiencing their depressions worsen.
Wow. And this, you would think, would be a serious violation of just professional ethics, right?
Right. And then going to a separate case, a different doctor, this time a plastic surgeon, also made 500 million won from 10 people for Propofol injections. And he allegedly sexually assaulted a patient who was under. This particular doctor was caught on camera taking bundles of cash and even a designer handbag in return for the injections.
Okay, well, the misuse doesn't just stop at Propofol.
Right, here's the thing. Propofol include, as well as the others that I will name, they are all medicinally approved medication that are being misused or abused by professionals.
Yes.
There's this also ADHD medication that's being used for academic doping, aka it helps you focus.
Yes.
Also, other cases of prescribing diet pills or shots under other people's names.
I see. But you mentioned that the prosecution has a dedicated team handling this. So the authorities, they seem to be taking this very seriously.
They are, but that's only one facet of the bigger picture, because it doesn't seem to go to the court level, or there might even be administrative oversight.
Okay.
So again, going back to the doctor who allegedly sexually assaulted a patient, he's had his arrest warrant revoked. So this individual not under arrest, along with the head of the pharmaceutical wholesale company that allegedly sold the ADHD medication for non-medical usage. Also, the Board of Audit and Inspection, the BAI, previously pointed out that some 200 doctors who have had their licenses suspended or revoked were found to have been prescribing thousands of narcotics and pointed to the health ministry's lax oversight on the matter.
I see. Well, not a great story to start off with. Well, for our next story, something completely different. Car sharing services have become quite popular in the past few years, but you really, I guess, want to read the fine print when it comes to insurance.
Absolutely, because I know we have our car or cars, but I also know of some like younger, it's been a trend among Gen Zs because parking's a nightmare, insurance is expensive, so they will rent these car sharing services.
Right.
But then again, read the fine print. because oftentimes we do see the ad of like car sharing, like zero liability, or we have full insurance coverage. You don't need to worry about anything. Basically, if there's an accident, the customer wouldn't have to pay even a penny.
Okay.
But
oh no,
is that the case? No, of course not. I mean, it shouldn't be, of course not. But here are some reports.
Okay.
One woman in her 20s rented a car, a Sonata, so like a mid-sized sedan, last month for 2 days. She got into an accident, but she wasn't terribly worried. No one was hurt because she had signed up for this insurance package that would put her maximum deductible. So that would be your out-of-pocket expense at 700,000 won, so 70만 원. So she would have had to pay like $500.
Okay, but you're focusing on the story, so I'm assuming that wasn't the bill she got?
Yeah, the bill comes and wow, her actual bill, 16 million won.
No.
1,600만 원. 70만 원만 내면 된다면서요. Right. It's,
what?
The digits are vastly different.
Yes.
So she lodged a complaint to the company and said that, but the company said that the insurance coverage on that vehicle that the company will cover is only 4 million won.
Oh.
So she has to pay for basically the rest of it. So she looked at the fine print and indeed, fine and she said physically in the tiniest print possible to even her 20-something-year-old eyes. She said that was there, but again, fine print, and the advertisement was allegedly you wouldn't have to pay, supposedly you wouldn't have to pay anything out of pocket.
Wow.
Going to a separate case, a different driver used the car share for 4 hours, a brief couple trips, returned the vehicle, no problem, no accidents. 2 weeks later, she gets a bill charging her 340,000 won, 34만 원. I mean, again, it's not like 천 몇백만 원.
But for what?
But still, there was a scratch on the bumper.
Oh.
But then she didn't do it. She also had a zero deductible policy, which is like 자가 부담금 없는 상품, but she's still charged for this.
Wow. So what's the justification for her getting billed this 340,000 won?
Right. Here's the thing. They know, supposedly, that she didn't scratch it, but she didn't tell them there was a scratch.
What?
You know, when you rent a car, you do the walk around, right? And you go with a clipboard with the rental car service employee. And you say, oh, here's a ding, here's like a little scratch, and you mark everything. The thing about car share programs is that these are unmanned. So there isn't a person doing the walkthrough with you or walk around with you. So you have to do that yourself and report any dings or scratches ahead of time. If not, that basically becomes yours.
I don't want it though.
I don't want it. I'm like, no thanks, I didn't do it. So if you didn't inform the company of the previous scratches or damages, that becomes your liability. So overall, in the past 3 years, the Korea Consumer Agency received 133 reports on car share services accidents. 90% of them were about these out-of-pocket deductibles. I said I wasn't going to be charged any. I'm getting dumped with a bill. And so what's the conclusion? The zero deductibles ad, not true. Of course, then car companies need to make these, well, not falsely advertised.
I was going to say,
basically.
Can't you sue them for false advertising?
But then is there a fine print to the ad that we're not looking at? So the KCA, the Korea Consumer Agency, advised the car share companies to make these clauses clearer and perhaps larger, but also advised customers for our part to do our due diligence, fully read the terms and conditions.
Yes, indeed. And now I'm going to read the tiny fine print.
Or maybe I just won't.
Yes.
You know, use
that service.
I'm so scared.
All right, up next, there is this challenge that claims that, you know, you can sleep better on planes. But experts are really hoping that you don't partake in this challenge. What is this?
This is a viral TikTok trend, and, you know, it's so just that alone is like, well.
Alarm bells,
But it's actually raising alarms over passenger safety.
Oh, no.
I don't know what it is, but air travel seems to be like a weird opportunity for influencers to do their thing. You know, the tray decoration, the surveillance, not the surveillance, but the airport tray. Well, here they supposedly say, basically, you scrunch yourself up into this tiny ball in your seat. So you're a very small airplane seat. You like put your knees up and then you tie your legs with the seatbelt. You fasten your legs with the seatbelt, and we have some visuals up. And people claim that this will make you sleep better during flights. Basically, like you're curling up in a fetal position.
Yes.
And kind of like when you swaddle a baby, they're saying this has that same effect.
Okay. Is this actually allowed? Is that okay?
Well, because the seatbelt is supposed to be over your
belly area.
Yeah, belly area. You're like fastening you down. So some people who say they've tried it say they were also stopped by flight attendants saying, sir or ma'am, you cannot do that with your seat. You cannot tie yourself, your legs down. One video creator acknowledged that the position felt fairly comfortable at first, but then their legs fell asleep.
Oh,
which
no.
means like 다리가 저리기 시작했다.
Dead leg.
Dead leg.
But experts actually warn of larger health risks of doing this.
Right, because the last thing you want to do in a long flight especially is to basically not move.
Oh.
Right, because we're told like every 1 or 2 hours, like get up and stretch and walk down the plane.
aisle,
Because the vein thrombosis, or basically blood clots forming in your legs when they are kept in a tightly compressed position. So we don't want to do that. And also on a much lighter tone, etiquette experts are saying no one wants your feet near them on the seat, or just
That's
don't.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. Challenges, if it's for a good purpose, like the ice bucket challenge, okay, but none of this.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, this is very much goes with our text topic. Tributes have been pouring in following the death of French actress icon Brigitte Bardot.
Right. Brigitte Bardot, she defined French film scene in the 50s and 60s. One of the most well-known, famous, but also maybe a little infamous animal rights activist in the second chapter of her life.
Sure.
So, of course, the reason we're covering this, her foundation said that the legendary actress has died at the age of 91.
Right. And, she has definitely lived a full life. But let's begin with her film career.
Right. So in France, she's known as just Bibi, Brigitte Bardot. She tantalized audiences. She was definitely a bombshell character and scandalized the scene with her raw display of her sexuality in the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
Box office phenomenon in the U.S. and many credit her as popularizing French films with Americans.
Yes.
French President Emmanuel Macron also paid tribute, saying that she embodied a life of freedom.
And so we are going to actually call it a wrap for today because we're going to have to move on. But thank you for going over her life. And of course, you can read about her later on. She was very much an animal rights activist, right, Haley?
Absolutely. But she was a bit radical in her expressions, as we in Korea know.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for all the Woggly news. And I'll be back after this song. So here it is. This is Hug by 동방신기. And then I'll be back with Bonnie.
하루만 네 방의 침대가 되고 싶어 Oh baby 더 따스히 포근히 내 품에 감싸고 재우고 싶어 아주 작은 뒤척임도 너의 조그만 속삭임에 난 꿈속의 괴물도 이겨내버릴 텐데 내가 없는 너의 하루 어떻게 흘러가는 건지 나를 얼마나 사랑하는지 난 너무나 궁금한데 너의 작은 서랍 속에 일기장이 되고 싶어 알 수 없는 너의 그 비밀도 내 맘속에 담아둘래 너 몰래 하루만 너의 고양이가 되고 싶어 Oh baby 네가 주는 맛있는 우유와 부드러움 네 품 안에서 움직이는 장난해도 너의 귀여운 입맞춤에 나도 몰래 질투를 느끼고 있었나 봐 내 마음이 이런 거야 지켜볼 수만 있어도 너무 감사해 많이 행복해 나 조금은 부족해도 언제까지 너의 곁에 네 곁에 연인으로 있고 싶어 너를 내 품에 가득한 이제 굳어버렸으면 싶어 영원히
It's time for Simply Sustainable. We have Bonnie in the studio. Let's see how she's doing. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy almost New Year.
I know.
This is crazy.
Yes. So,
we are already here.
We are racing toward the end of 2025. But
Yeah.
wishing you a happy New Year ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm still stuck in like 2020, so it's going to take me a while to catch up.
Yes, and everything I say is going to be like 2026 in a couple days, right? In a few days. So let's dive in. What do you have for us today?
Well, so today, because it is our last Simply Sustainable of the year,
yes.
I wanted to kind of do a 2025 highlights of all the great episodes that we've done and the things that I kind of thought were the most important or the
Sure.
things that have kind of made a bigger difference in my life and wanted to share that with you guys.
Yes.
So Simply Sustainable, we've been doing this since about April or so. So had a lot of things that we've covered.
Yes.
Right? So I'm going to start off with something near and dear to my heart. Was in June, it was World Oceans Day.
Yes.
And so in this month, we talked about actually, because a lot of people are going into the ocean and we are slathering ourselves with sunscreen, we talked about reef-safe sunscreen and
Yes.
how we can be more mindful of what we are putting on our bodies, not only for our health, but also for the planet's health and the ocean's health.
Right.
So just a reminder, though, that 14,000 tons of sunscreen enter our waterways every year.
Wow.
And these the sunscreen is usually kind of toxic or chemical, has chemicals in it. So it's killing a lot of our coral reefs, which, a reminder, are the lungs of our ocean.
Yes.
So just a reminder, if you are buying sunscreen, if you are out there, preparing for the days to come when you're
Right.
going in the ocean, making sure that we have the reef-safe sunscreen and check the labels on there, making sure that it's a natural kind of ingredient, that we're not getting the chemical ones, and it was the ones that started with the O,
Yes.
the octobenzoin and the oxybenzoin. Those are the ones that we want to avoid. So just a little reminder for that. And then also we moved on to fast fashion, which is one of
yes.
my favorite topics because the world consumes about 80 billion new pieces of clothing a year.
That
everybody.
is like tons, too much.
80 billion.
Yes.
It's really hard to even fathom what that looks like.
Right.
So what can we do? I've mentioned this all the time, but I like that the shopping from vintage stores is kind of getting a little bit more trendy.
It is.
And I see even Busan has many more vintage stores kind of popping up here and there. So this is a great way to avoid fast fashion, which also fast fashion is using a lot of not so great materials.
Right.
Also. So, looking at those tags as well and making sure that they're not so much the polyester, the spandex.
Right.
We're trying to get more towards like the cotton, wool, linen. Those are really great.
Sure.
And something that I've been trying to get better at doing, this is probably going to be my 2026 highlight reel, but learning how to sew so I can fix my clothes instead of throwing them away and getting new things.
see.
Because, if it has like a little hole or a little
Right.
rip, usually I'm too lazy or I don't really know how to sew that well to fix it. And then to take it to somebody to get it fixed, also that always slips my mind. So that's my new goal, to try and fix my clothes. But for all of you out there,
Mending your own clothes, Bonnie.
yes.
Wow.
So if you, especially if it's something that you really love, instead of trying to just throw it away and get something new, trying to fix the things that we already have.
That's a really good one. I think that's something we can all do. If it's like, still of good quality,
Yeah.
it's worth fixing.
Have you ever done that? Are you a
Actually,
sewer?
Let me flip my hair because actually during COVID, it was out of necessity. Do you remember when there weren't enough masks to go around? So I actually bought a sewing machine. And then I bought organic, cotton. Bought the filter material, and I made my own masks. But it was out of necessity at that time because we couldn't get our hands on masks. So I started I got really into it.
Wow, what a great skill to have, though.
And now I feel obviously COVID-19 is done and over with. But I feel like if there is ever a world emergency, I'll be ready.
I'll have to bring my clothes to you.
So ever since then, for little minor things, if pants are too long, stuff like that I can do.
Wow,
easy.
That's impressive.
The more difficult stuff, I take it to alteration, just like everybody else.
But how rewarding is that, though? If when you do something and fix something yourself, you need something taken in, or you have a hole and you patch it yourself, it's a good feeling as well.
I feel so proud of myself.
Yes.
I can't believe I fixed
You
this,
should.
or I hemmed this correctly.
Yes. Okay, that's inspiration. That's my 2026. That's putting on the resolution list now.
Okay.
But yes, trying to fix stuff that we already have, trying to be more sustainable and not buying things from those fast fashion companies or stores.
Sure.
Always trying to look for vintage, look for secondhand. In Korea, we have a really great secondhand market online that you can always buy from.
That's true.
So always looking there first. And this is great for your wallet. So if you're trying to save a little bit of money in the new year as well, this is really great because you can always find things, even name brand things, from these secondhand stores for a fraction of the price.
Right. And speaking of those secondhand stores, it's not just the gently used stuff. Sometimes people buy stuff and they're like, oh, this is not what I expected. And then they put it on a resale platform.
Yes.
But I figure, it's already been sold. It's already been manufactured. It just didn't, suit somebody.
Yeah.
And then you can buy it for, a cheaper price.
Yes.
Right.
And that actually, we covered this a couple weeks ago, but talking about buying something and then it not fitting right. Or not being the product that you wanted. If you return it, most of these returns are going into the landfill.
That's true.
And this was a big shocker to me when I learned this. But, because we're so quick to buy things, it's very easy to click and buy, especially here in Korea. The delivery systems are so top notch. So it's really easy and they're pretty cheap most of the time. But once we get them and we don't want them, the returns, unfortunately, those companies are not spending the time to kind of repackage everything, make it look nice, and give it back to you. So instead of doing that, reselling it on these sites also as the seller is a great way to avoid putting all of these things into the landfill.
Right. All right. So
our next one, we're going to go into July. We covered Plastic-Free July.
We
also
did.
one of my favorite topics. And ways to be plastic free. We talked about the clothes thing, trying to use natural materials, but then also the little things that you can do day to day. I know it's kind of tough to take out your own straws, take out your own bags, carry around all those things.
Yes.
But once you do it a couple times, it kind of becomes a habit. So start small. I always say baby steps. You're not trying to do everything all at once, but any time that you can avoid one piece of plastic really can make a difference. We think that it's only just one, but if that one straw were the one to end up in the ocean, to end up in that turtle's nose, if you know the video that I'm talking about, if that was your straw, you could make a big difference by avoiding that.
That's true.
So, little things matter. I want to always, put a lot of emphasis on that.
Yes.
This is something, the next one is something that made a really big difference for me and something that I'm really proud of that I learned to do.
Yes.
I made my own milk. So this
remember that.
This was my 2025 goal because buying my soy milk in those containers was kind of like my last thing that I wanted to ditch, but I just couldn't because making it was too, it was daunting to me.
Yes.
But once I finally got the machine and I started making it proudly, since I have gotten that machine, I have not bought one carton of that soy milk or oat milk or whatever it is from the store. Because also those cartons, we think that we just throw them in the paper recycling and they'll get recycled. But unfortunately, unless you cut the little hard plastic part of it off in the top, and then you make sure it's all cleaned and all dried, cut flat, it will not get recycled.
Right, that's great.
Yeah, so unfortunately, a lot of those that are being thrown away, they're not being recycled properly.
Right.
So then it's just being landfilled. So
I feel like even if we can't get to that stage yet of making our own milk,
yes.
What I learned from that segment was, we can at least, if you use those kind of cartons, to cut the plastic away, as you said, make sure everything's really clean, flatten it, to make sure at least it can be recycled.
It can be disposed of properly. Yes, I love that. And if not the soy milk, I also think anything that you make at home. So whether it be maybe yogurt, you can make your own vinegars. We talk about making your own pickles.
Yes.
All of that kind of stuff. Bread even. I know some of you are very adventurous with this. But if you can make anything like this at home, it kind of becomes a habit.
Yes.
And this can be part of your weekly, daily routine. And so making anything at home, it's healthier, usually healthier. It's better for your bank. And it's also great for the planet.
Yes, yes.
Next tip, I wanted to cover some documentaries because these are always I think one of the best ways to kind of become more self-aware about our impact on the planet. And some of the top ones I wanted to just throw out there again: The Plastic Ocean, Chasing Coral, Cowspiracy, Seaspiracy, and then of course Okja, because that is Bong Joon-ho's film and it made a huge difference when I saw it, and I think it's a really great one to highlight. And then we also covered The Biggest Little Farm and Reasons for Hope, because these ones are very uplifting. They're ones that are kind of, giving you the hope that we need, that we can make a difference. And it's, even the smallest little action can make a really big impact, especially when a lot of us are doing it all together. The next thing I wanted to cover is, we're passing the holiday season, but we're never past the season of buying.
That's true. That season is always here.
Yes, we are always buying things, consuming things. But just a little friendly reminder of asking yourself, do you really need that item? Is it something that you will still want in 6 months, a year, 5 years? And we were talking trends, right? The dolls that are really trendy. Will you still think that this is really cool in about 5 years? Or are you just buying it because everybody else is buying it? Yeah.
I thought,
Yeah, I think most of the things that we're buying, it's really hard to avoid because it's always in our faces. Like, buy this is really cool. But take a moment, take a pause, and really think about what it is that you're buying and if it's something that you really need.
Yes.
And if it's something that you can buy, like we talked about, used. Gifting, for the holiday season, this is a really interesting statistic that I found out. But in the UK, only 1% of the presents that we have bought over this holiday season that we just gave, only 1% will be used 6 months after receiving it.
That was kind of a shocking statistic to me.
Yes.
1%.
Only 1%.
6 months later, it was being used.
And of course, this is just an average, and this was only from the UK, but this is just giving us food for thought for thinking about before we gift something to somebody. Also, are we buying a gift just because we want to give this person something? Or is it really a gift that they're going to want? Is it really something they're going to need? So just like everything, all of our actions have a big impact on this planet. And if I can drive anything home, it's the fact that we all have so much more power than we think. Every single dollar that we spend, every single one that we spend has an impact. It's either hurting the planet or helping the planet.
Yes.
So the more that we can think about that and think about where our money is going to, especially if you are supporting a big corporate business, or especially during these seasons, can we support the small businesses?
Yes.
The small mom and pops, the do-it-yourself people, people that are actually crafting things on their own, trying to buy with more meaning and impact and intention than just buying for whatever reason, just because we want to spend money.
All right. So we're going to call it a wrap for today as we say almost goodbye to 2025.
Yeah.
So wishing you nothing but the best as you close out this
year.
year.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see you next year. Oh, that sounds so weird, but see you next year.
See you next year.
All right, everybody. This was Bonnie with Simply Sustainable. And it's time to wrap up our program for the entire day. So thank you for joining us, producer Joyeji. We have our writers, Haley Sa, Soo Kim. I'm your host, Catherine. Let's end it with this one. I mentioned this group earlier, Iconic. Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. Have a beautiful day. Bye, everybody.